Right now at noon, we start with taking a look at this. A mangled home after a pickup truck came crashing through it this morning. This is on the city's south side, West Troy Avenue, west of South Meridian. IMPD investigating right now, and the driver, we learned, went to the hospital for care. Officers say the GMC pickup truck was traveling west on Troy when it went off the road around 5:30 this morning, struck the property and fully crashed through one home and then into another. We're told the driver's condition described as stable. IMPD says there are no signs of intoxication, so no word yet if anyone was home at the time of the crash. No injuries from the home are now reported. And turning now to our forecast as we're monitoring some storms that could roll through tonight. Meteorologist Rob Ellis is here tracking those systems on what now is officially a weather impact alert day.
Yeah, it's going to depend on how warm we get today, which is expected to be record warmth, by the way. Another day in the mid 80s, if you can believe that, in March. Relatively rare. This will now be, I think, the second or third time we've gotten into the 80s in March. After that, that's what the storms are going to feed off of. So let's start with temperatures because that's really going to be the first key ingredient. And we're already up to 72 at the airport. The record high for today is 80 degrees. We do believe that we will surpass that, especially since we expect these southwest winds to bring in even warmer air. And you can see it on this temperature map to the south and west. We expect some of these warmer temperatures to move our way. I think once we get into the 80s this afternoon, then we turn our attention to areas to the north and west. There's a little boundary that's sitting right here, a little cold front that eventually we expect a few storms to fire. And because of that, Storm Prediction Center thinks as that sinks to the south, this will be the area of most concern. Northern parts of Indiana, parts of Illinois and Ohio, but really firing perhaps right along the Illinois-Indiana line and then moving through. Record high temperature of 80 is likely to be broken with a forecast high of 84. The storms are going to arrive from north to south. So we'll see these in Logansport. We'll see them in Peru. We'll see them in Lafayette before they arrive in Kokomo and Hamilton County and to Indy and then push to the south. That's going to start after 7 p.m. from north to south and probably will be in the metro sometime around 8 or 9 o'clock. The severe threat is mainly for damaging winds and hail, although an isolated tornado couldn't be ruled out. I've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the timing and what to expect. I'll walk you through future track and show you the much colder temperatures that are expected as we head into the weekend, unfortunately. I'll have that for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, now to Butler University, where police tell us now they are searching for 5 suspects who broke into Hinklefield House over the weekend. Butler police releasing these images of the suspect, and they'd like your help to ID them. They say these suspects stole over $10,000 worth of equipment and then about $12,000 to $15,000 worth of communications equipment, all from the Fieldhouse property. This break-in happened around 1:15 on Saturday morning. If you know who these people are, if you know where the equipment is, if you know anything, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-8477. Police in Marian now are searching for a suspect after a man there was shot in the chest. That was reported around 6:15 Tuesday night. Officers say it happened at the intersection of West 30th and South Haymaker Street. The 58-year-old man went to the hospital and then was airlifted for further care to Lutheran Hospital in Fort Wayne and Allen County. Police say surveillance video there shows what appears to be an argument between 2 men. They say the suspect is a 51-year-old Marian man who fled the scene driving a black SUV. If you know anything, you're urged to contact the Marian Police Department. Also today, we've learned that a 49-year-old man is dead after a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. This went down around 8 o'clock last night near 21st and Shadeland. That's where police say they found William Corano shot. He went to the hospital in critical condition and died shortly after arriving. Police have yet to say what might have led up to that gunfire, and they have no details sharing with 13 News at this hour about a possible suspect. Now to Columbus, where police tell us they are investigating a deadly fire that was connected to a burglary attempt there. They say it happened at a home on Pearl Street around 8 o'clock last night. They were told a man was trying to get into the house there. When officers tried to stop him, they say he ran into a garage. And then a short time later, police say they saw smoke coming from that garage. They tried to get inside, but then the smoke and the fire were just too strong. That man's body was later found in that garage, and police still are investigating. have new developments now in the Delphi murders case. The state of Indiana is arguing that Richard Allen's conviction should stand as it is. This is the case of these two teens, Abby Williams and Libby German, who were murdered more than 9 years ago. Allen is serving 130 years for both of their deaths. Alex Almanza has been digging into the reasons that the AG says that Allen should stay in prison.
Abby Williams and Libby German, two names this community has carried for years. But now their case is back in the spotlight, not because of what happened in 2017, but because of what could happen next. In a 94-page filing, Indiana's Attorney General pushing back on Richard Allen's appeal, arguing his conviction for their murder should stand. Prosecutors say Allen's confessions were voluntary and not coerced. Allen's attorneys are asking for his conviction to be overturned and say he's entitled to a new trial, arguing there were problems with how evidence was handled and whether his statement should have been used in court. But the state says the trial was fair, the evidence is strong, and Allen's own confessions are valid. They argue even if there were issues, they were minor and wouldn't change the outcome of the trial. Alex.
All right, some March Madness update, and we're talking about the Boilers. It is game day today. Purdue back on the court tonight. They're in the Sweet 16. They're taking on Texas, and that game is on the West Coast in San Jose. Now, as a number 2 seed, the Boilers are favored over the 11th seed Longhorns. They're averaging about 82 points per game. That's about 6 more than Texas. But as you know, in March Madness, anything can happen. That game tonight tips off at 7:10. And our Eli Gain is in San Jose for the big game in Sweet 16. He'll bring us complete coverage before tip-off, starting on 13 News at 4. He'll have highlights after the game on 13 News at 11. And give him a follow on social media because he's doing a lot of updating there along the way too. That behind-the-scenes stuff is really fun to follow. Right now, Metro Police and Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett are addressing public safety as the city prepares to host its 9th NCAA Final Four. It's coming up next weekend.
It's important to emphasize that public safety is a shared responsibility. So we ask all of our community and visitors to play a role in that. If you see something that doesn't look right, say something. We encourage everyone coming downtown to plan ahead, be patient, follow directions from officers and event staff, and act responsibly.
IMPD says they'll be enforcing curfew for young people come Final Four weekend and will be activating the Youth Connection Center. Now, Indy College students always get the opportunity to watch some of these events come to life. And for this Final Four, they're actually going to know every in and out of this event. It's through a program that's called Making March Madness. This is a course that the students are enrolled in at IU Indy. Through this course, students take a deeper look into not only the tourney, but also how other large-scale events are operated and introduced to the city. This includes operations, ticketing, marketing, and of course, the very fun fan events.
A lot of kids want to go into sports now, and there's a limited amount of jobs in sports, so I think you have to just narrow down what you want to do in sports and what is that, you know, your expertise and what aligns with your strengths. So I think it's been really good for them, a little eye-opening and some opportunities that maybe they didn't think about in sports.
That's right, and they can build out their resume and get some experience because the work ends with the students volunteering throughout the Final Four weekend.